Meet your heroes. Starlord. Originally created by Steve Englehart and Steve Gann and debuting in Marvel Preview number 4, Quill has had a couple of origin changes since then, through Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, number 1, as well as Marvel movies. That origin has changed substantially away. Here with Marvel Guardians of the Galaxy from Square, it doesn't make the same sweeping changes, but more subtle ones in many smaller places. And having had a chance to play throughout the entire game, this is a no-spoiler video where we're going to look at Starlord. Subscribe, stay tuned until the end for the upcoming reviews that are coming out from me and voting on some of them. Originally living on Earth, but orphaned at a young age, a series of adventures led Peter Quill to adopting the name Starlord, or at least trying to get everyone else to adopt that name. Now, over 30 years old, a series of adventures behind him, he has found himself teamed up with 4 other misfits: Gamora, Drax, Groot, and Rocket Raccoon. Armed with his double-barreled environmental pistols and jet boots, the Guardians is the one place Peter can actually say that he has a family, and families need to get paid. Attitude and leadership. Get rich and look good while doing it. That is Peter's attitude. Peter is in it for the money and the fun. Since he was a young man who wanted to be an astronaut, Peter Quill has one foot in exciting times and the other foot planning his next bad decision. Whatever they may be, whatever they've done in the past, regardless of the heroics, heroes have got to eat though. And in this case, or in the case of Drax, eat a lot. In Marvel Guardians of the Galaxy, you play as the revamped Star-Lord with a slightly different history, but that same desire for cash that pushes the team into bad decisions. Couple that with Star-Lord's continued desire to be known around the world, and what you have is a character that leads not only by leadership and charisma alone, but also insanely good luck. And why leadership can't always be qualified or quantified. The way that Peter consistently displays it is with dogged charm and the desire to continually put his family first. How does he do that? He's actually not so bad in a gunfight. Skills. First up, you can't ignore Clarice and Terry, Star-Lord's 2 double-barreled elemental guns, specifically mixed in their abilities in this particular game. This allows for him to not only lay down fast firepower on an enemy, but also here unleash elemental attacks that allow him to freeze enemies and sometimes locations to get around whatever new place the Guardians have decreed to infiltrate. Freeze an enemy and then throw Drax in there to smash him, or freeze a waterfall to Mario yourself and your team to some new rare suit unlock. While he can upgrade these weapons with more shot types such as rapid fire and power shots, they start out incredibly powerful in their own right, even if it's just in a pinch when Peter needs to slam some hammerhead looking alien freak into submission, so he jabs him in the neck and butts him over the head with the end of the pistol. While he is a quick shot and a good one at that for the most part, Peter's best skill may be getting the best out of his teammates, regardless of the situation, in or out of combat, by just, well, ordering them around. Sometimes friends, though, need to talk. If the team in this game is doing incredibly poorly in a battle and sometimes doing incredibly well, Peter can call a temporary huddle, like the moments in movies where all of the good guys regroup after the enemy shows up and kicks their butts. He listens to them as they talk, and then he chooses the best way to motivate them depending on what they've said during that huddle. Sometimes, like Star-Lord does, he chooses the wrong words, only helping himself, really. Other times, he lifts everybody up, energizing them against the enemy. He also has the ability to call on any of the Guardians to pull off any of their moves as long as they have the energy to do so. Being able to fly around and above the enemies gives him that perfect bird's eye view he needs for what's going on around him, and calling in a well-timed Drex attack or having a raccoon rocket and some explosives just at the right time can turn a battle, including the team-ups, against an enemy quite quickly. You can also join up with the others and do combo attacks on the enemies. But even when you're trying to go between enemies and explore around the world, Peter's can-do attitude always seems to pay off with his ability to figure out a way towards or forwards whatever they're going to next, just using his own stubbornness and the balls to pick ideas that might sound stupid at first, but in the end, when he tells everybody to do what they're supposed to do, it usually works out. Lastly, Peter's specialized helmet performs various functions in the game, the most important of which is allowing him to locate locations in the game world of interest and of interactions with the other characters. Later on, he has the ability to do other things like scan enemies during battles and figure out their weaknesses right away. And speaking of weaknesses, Peter's got his own. While he didn't get the name Star-Lord for nothing, he is consistently battling a number of problems. It's a shoot first, figure things out later instinct, coupled with a risk everything for whatever is shiny right in front of you right now kind of mentality that always gets him in trouble. He isn't the greatest fighter in the world either. While Drax and Gamora and even Groot have their skills, Peter is just human in the end. And unlike Rocket, he isn't blessed with a 200 plus IQ and a mechanics bench worth of spare parts in a magical appearing backpack. That doesn't stop him from throwing a hook or two with his guns as alien brass knuckles, but that is not his usual path to success. And also, one thing you will find out in this game, just like you found out in the movies if you followed them or in the comics, Quill can make some bad decisions. Some decisions you can't ever seem to make right, but he just has some really poor ideas. And there are times when you have to sort of walk them out and see where they lead you. Special bits. You know, I like Peter Quill, I like Starlord, and I have since I actually found out about him in the movies, not even the comics, which I returned to. Thousands of reorganizations and changes and adjustments and transformations and restarts that other superheroes have at times makes them feel a little melted down. It's led to a character here that has a feeling that's a bit more modern than others, regardless if the movies and the comics or otherwise don't necessarily always agree. And that's despite Starlord being around for a great deal of actual real time. It's just the fact that for the most part, it's just been this jackass character. And I've ended up buying off on that character. Of course, you could look at the movies and say Chris Pratt did such an excellent job in his rendition of that character. But Starlord, through and through, day one, well, like I said, right at the starting, or like I wrote, you can see distinctly what the guys were thinking when they made him. As Guardians of the Galaxy comes to homes everywhere, it'll be a mistake to think that Square didn't look at this character and think to themselves, let's do something different. And as interviews have paid out, they have actually stated Marvel was okay with them changing everything. But they haven't. They've changed some stuff. While I won't go into it here in detail, it's refreshing to see changes in origins, attitude, and actions, even if, especially at first, it's a little bit of a Spider-Man kind of moment for any gamer going into any of this, where you got Tobey Maguire who gets Garfielded and then Garfield got Hollanded into oblivion. That kind of stuff can certainly happen when you're jumping between movies or cartoons and comic books or books, novelizations, and, of course, games. However, I think a lot like Spider-Man, the Star-Lord character speaks to me. It's somebody that I've always liked. So I'd like to know if you guys like these videos. If you do, give it a thumbs up. If you don't, give it a thumbs down. You guys will see me do reviews. 3 reviews this week, as well as another Meet Your Hero, as well as another Meet Your Enemies or Meet Your Villain video. You will also see the podcast on Friday. You will see a news video from me, most likely on Tuesday or Wednesday, and you should see a new interview video called The Creators, where I bring people from not only video games, but elsewhere, like comics, like I've done before, or other different various elements of fiction, including movie makers, directors, bring them on the channel, and we just talk about games and movies and creating. Those are going to be really cool. I hope you're excited to see those. Make sure to check out the Patreon. Make sure to share these videos if you like them, even if you don't, share it anyway. Peace out.